So lesson 5 has more to do with two-step equations, and so I just wanted to remind you about your inverses. Okay, so remember, what do you see versus what do you do? Adding tells you to subtract, subtracting tells you to add, multiplying tells you to divide, and dividing tells you to multiply. You must remember that. Okay? There we go. All right. Okay, so in our last lesson, we talked about how you will always add or subtract first when you're solving, unless there's parentheses involved. Okay, so in a problem like this where you have 3 times x plus 5 equals 45, you're going to have to divide that 3 first and get rid of it so that then you have whatever's left in the parentheses by itself. Then you can get rid of whatever you need to get your x by itself. So you can see they've divided by 3, then they subtracted by the 5. Okay, here they divided by 5, and then they added 2. Okay, so anytime you see parentheses, you want to get rid of anything that's affecting the parentheses first. Okay, so we have 2 times x plus 4 equals 20. All right, so we're going to think of it as 2 separate sides. We're going to divide by that 2 first so that we get it to go away, leaving us with what's inside the parentheses. And then 20 divided by 2 is 10. Then we can get our x by itself by subtracting 4 from both sides. And so x equals 6. Okay? Okay, so we're going to divide by 3 on both sides, leaving us what's inside. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then to get the b to be by itself, we're going to add 6 to both sides, and b equals 10. Okay, we're going to divide by the negative 7 because you have to take all its baggage with it. That leaves us what's on the inside. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 1 negative stays negative. Then we're going to subtract 6. And why am I subtracting 6? Well, because this 6 is positive, and to keep d by itself, we have to do our inverse. So we're subtracting 6. If you need your t-chart, when they're both negative, we add them. So we get negative 13 as our final answer. Okay? Even if we have fractions, the idea still works the same. The only difference here is that, remember our rule about fractions, we can't divide by fractions. We have to multiply by the reciprocal. So this fraction goes away, leaving us what's inside of the parentheses. Here, though, we have to multiply over here. So 15 times 4, that's 60, and there's 1 negative, so it stays negative, and 1 times 1 stays 1. Then we can add 3 to both sides to get the letter D by itself. Use your t-chart. When 1 is negative and 1 is positive, we subtract. So we get 57. And because 60 is bigger, it's negative 57. Okay. 0.75, 6 plus D equals 12. Okay, so it's okay that it's a decimal. Just divide the decimal. And you might need a calculator. So 12 divided by 0.75 is 16. Then remember this is positive, so we're going to subtract 6. And so the letter D, equals 10. Okay. All right, so don't let this confuse you because the fraction is at the end of the parentheses. It's still telling us to multiply. And if you don't like that, move it. There's nothing wrong with you changing the order in which numbers come. Okay, so then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so that this goes away, leaving us what's inside. Then we got to do some math over here. All right, so 9 times 0 is 0, 9 times 4 is 36, 1 times 5 is 5, and if you don't know what 360 divided by 5 is, use your calculator. There's nothing wrong with that. So we get 72. Then we're going to subtract 3, and t equals 69. Okay, you can look at some more examples, but really it's all the same thing.